We are going to start tonight with picking out the first series I will be reading for my 23rd series in 2023. Ellie has an important job in this, as in that she picks the series that I start with. She is playing over here with her Christmas toys. Aren't you? Is this your Christmas toy? Is this your llama? Or is he an alpaca? I don't really know. So she'll be making noise over there because, of course, she waited until I was going to film to do that. But I have 3 series here I'm going to let her pick from. I have, it's Book of Ember series. The first one is The City of Ember. I do not know much about this except for the people who live underground. This book was recommended to me back when I was like 13 or 14 by my 7th or 8th grade reading teacher. It was the same teacher for both years. I just can't remember which year it was. And I went, yeah, I'll read that series. And I bought the series when I was like 15 or 16. And then it's been sitting on my shelf since then. So here we are, 10, 11 years later. I'm going to read this series this year. This one's a relatively short. It's only like 270-ish pages. So it's under 300. And then we also have The Lightning Thief, the Percy Jackson series. I reread this series every year. And I'm going to reread it earlier this year because I'm going to do a universe-themed reading one. I have a picture on my phone. I'll put it on here. That it goes through which order to read the books in the universe. So like the order of like timeline-wise. And the only series I'm skipping is Kane Chronicles. And I'm only skipping that one because it's not my favorite. I like it. It's just not my favorite. And I did reread it in 2022. So this is another option for Ellie to pick tonight. This one is like closer to 400 pages. And then the other series universe that we're reading is Shadowhunters universe. So I have the first Mortal Instruments book, City of Bones. I have read this one 3 times before. I've read the Mortal Instruments twice in the past. But I haven't read much of the other books in the universe except for the Infernal Devices, and I read that in 2021. So I'm going to do a series read. I also have a timeline for that series, so I am going to be reading the books in the order that they appear on that timeline. The only book I know that's not on that timeline is Chain of Thorns because it's not out yet. I think book 2 in that series, though, is on the timeline. If not, book 1 for sure is. So I'm going to follow that timeline for this series as well. I am going to lock Ellie out of the room, and I'm going to set up the scavenger hunt game she's going to play to pick which book I read first here. First game set up for Ellie, and I'm going to go ahead and put those timelines in just so I can show you guys what they look like so far. So first here we have the Mortal Instruments Shadowhunters universe one. Have the Riordan verse series timeline, so it includes like Percy Jackson, Heroes of Olympus, Kane Chronicles, Magnus Chase books, Trials of Apollo, and like all the little short stories he wrote in between. Okay, so for the game Ellie is going to use to pick out which book I'm going to read is I hid a bunch of her favorite little chicken treats around my bedroom. And so like there's some over here on this book. I have one in her bed, one over by her food bowl. There's some hidden in between her toys on the floor. I have another book over there. And then I'm gonna open the door and then she's gonna go ahead and find them. Do you want to find chicken? Are you ready? Are you ready to find your chicken? Yeah, you ready? Yeah, okay, come find the chickens. Oh, did you find a chicken in there? Good girl. Oh, that's the book we're going to start with? How fun. Oh, you find another one? I think there's 8 of them. That's 4. 5. 6. Okay, there might only be 7. I might be dumb and not know how to count. But there's for sure one more, Eleanor. You're so close. It's not that way. You're so close, though. Oh, I am right. There is 8 of them. I just forgot about that one already, and it's been 2 minutes. There's one more, honey. No, there's none on the bed. There's none up there. I didn't put any up there tonight. Pick up the book before you step on it. Again. Come on, it's down on the floor. I promise. It's closer to your level. You're close. It's in there. Yay. And I got 2 more for your prize. Hey, I have 2 more for your prize. Yummy. We'll get you some treats too, Shelby. Don't you worry. You just don't play this game very well. She did pick the Book of Ember series. This series has 4 books. So we will start with book 1 here. It does have fairly large print, so I think it will be a fairly quick read. I am going to start this on January 1st. Ellie has a grooming appointment, and it is in a city that's about, I used to work there from where I live now. It's about a 45-50 minute drive, so there's no point in me driving home after I drop her off, because that's how long it's going to take her to get groomed. So, honestly, I probably have about an hour and a half for her to get groomed, so I'll probably just go to the Bob Evans that's nearby and get some breakfast for New Year's, and I will bring my book to start. Completely misleading. I am not starting this book the same day as I filmed the last clip. It is actually currently January 8th. I filmed that one back in December. I did start the first book in the City of Ember. It's hard to see with the light in the room right now because I'm not going to turn the light on, but book 1 here. I am 54 pages in, which brings us to the start of chapter 4. I just started this one like an hour ago, but it's getting kind of late, so I'm going to go to bed here so far. But I wanted to get some thoughts out so far. So, they live underground, which I knew. But it reminds me, I started reading it, and it reminds me of another series I started around the same time I was supposed to read this series originally, like when my reading teacher in 8th grade recommended this 10 years ago. Close to 11 years ago now. And it was called, the first book was called Tunnels. Now, I don't know the name of the series, I can't tell you that, but it's by Roderick Gordon. And those people, like, they live above ground, but there's like a society underground. And like this kid finds this underground society, and his dad finds it, and like, I didn't finish the series, so I don't know what happens. Like, I needed an audiobook. I can't like physically read it. I've tried. I can't physically read it with my eyes. I need to listen to it, and I need to find audiobooks of it. It was interesting though, because like they'd go underground, and he had like but apparently one of the main characters was an underground person, and he has like a brother down there. It's like super confusing, but it reminds me a lot of that so far. And then they got this like weird job thing going on. Like, they're 12, and they're like, well, you need a job to help fit the society. They're 12. But that aspect reminds me of The Giver by Lois Lowry. If anyone's ever read or watched that movie, I feel like The Giver was a very common book for like schools to read. We read that when I was like 8th grade too. And how those kids are like 12, 13, and they're like getting a job for their like society. That's kind of what they do in this book. Like, these kids are getting like a job, and they're like, but unlike, I think The Giver does the jobs better, where like they match people based on like, hey, we picked you for this job. Although some of them get shitty jobs, like, hey, you're gonna be a birth mother, you're just gonna constantly get pregnant and give birth. Like, that sounds like a shitty job, especially if like this person would hate being pregnant, but like they also don't get to keep their kid afterwards. I feel like there's like issues with that mentally, but like, well, that's a digression there. But in this book, they put all the jobs in a bag, and you pick a piece of paper out of a bag. That's a shitty way to pick jobs for kids. Why can't you all do it like The Giver, where they're like, hey, we've been watching you your entire life, and I think this would be a good job for you. I feel like that would go better. But no, we got paper out of a hat. That's all I have so far. That's about all the farther we've gotten. She did her first day on the job as a messenger, and she loves being a messenger. She loves running. Weird, because I hate running, but good for her. She's loving her job so far. That's all I have so far. So we'll pick this back up tomorrow and see where it goes. So book 1, I just finished. And I read, let me find it back. I know what page I was on. So I read this much of it tonight. So like half the book. It is relatively short though. So let me just say, they'd be living underground, which I knew they were living underground because I've seen the movie before. And I watched the movie like 12 years ago. It came out, I don't know when the movie came out, but the book came out in 2003. And, let's just put it this way. I knew they were underground, but like, some of these kids are kind of naive in this. I mean, and it is YA, so it's to be expected. But they're like, we'll just like tell the guards and they'll arrest the mayor. Like, the mayor's gonna let you arrest him. And then they escape, and they're like 12. And they're like, they keep calling her the baby. And it's the main character's little sister. I'm like, how young is she? She seems to be like a toddler, but they keep calling her she's being referred to as the baby. But like, how old is Bobby? I don't know. I don't think it tells you. I just kind of assume she can draw vaguely, and she can walk and kind of talk. So I'm assuming like 2 or 3. But like, it doesn't say anything else. Like, doesn't make any sense. But they take her with them, and then they escape. So they escape at the end of the book. I'm like, okay. Also, your guys' plan to like just announce that the singing, whatever the singing is, it seems like the town city, I guess, gets together and sings the same 3 songs every year. Also doesn't make sense. But I did enjoy it. I gave 5 stars. I'm going to start book 2 tomorrow, I believe. Granted, I guess I should say, provided that my lunch break goes decent. And 1, I have a decent lunch break, and 2, people don't try to talk to me. It's been happening all week. People keep trying to talk to me during lunch. Started book 2 last night, The People of Sparks. This one, I'm only about 5 chapters in. I'm going to read a little bit more here, but I started this last night, and we picked up roughly a week after the end of the first one, which is something I do like in books when they pick up shortly after the last one, because I don't like huge gaps of time between stuff. So we find out it's going to kind of spoil the ending of the first book, admittedly. So we find out main character Lena and Dune and Poppy all come up out of the city, and they wait for 3 days before anyone joins them. And then we find out it's a 3-day journey to the village of Sparks. So now they've met the people of Sparks, and they're going to start to learn how to live in the upper world, which is basically the world we live in. It's like, they keep saying, they call it the disaster. That's what the people of Sparks call it. So I assume it was like a World War III nuclear attack where the world is decimated. So we're kind of going into a dystopian type feel now. And it's like, they don't have, but I don't know. I feel like it's weird. Like, if there was a nuclear war that destroyed stuff, I get that we wouldn't have all the technology, but there would be, like, people who live that would know the technology and we'd be able to rebuild it. But, like, it seems we've gone back to, like, regressed, even in, like, medicine. So, I don't know. But we're only 5 chapters in, so I will read more tonight, and we'll see where this goes. I made some notes on my phone during my recent readings of People of Sparks. So, I don't think I've mentioned the character's name yet. But so the main character is Lena, which is the one we, like, mostly follow. But then we, like, this one also splits off into Dune, which is, like, our secondary character in the first one. And they were the ones who escaped the city together initially. along with Lena's little sister Poppy. So when we get to this new village, Sparks, we meet this kid named Torin. And first of all, I don't like the name. Torin just sounds like a little bitch. Not gonna lie. And Torin is a little bitch. I know he's like a 10 or 11-year-old child, but this kid needs to learn to get the fuck over himself. I'm not sorry for saying that. Like, he's throwing a fit. Like, I get it. The people at Sparks don't want to help share their food, blah, 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 blah. I get it. I get that aspect. But this kid, like, his aunt's taking care of him because he's an orphan. Like, his aunt is just, like, whoop him or something. Like, kid, stop throwing a fit about every little thing because they looked at your things does not mean we need to throw a fit. Slap the kid. He needs to get over himself. But as more and more time goes on in this book, I'm only like 50% through the book, he gets more and more childish. Like, this boy just threw 2 crates. They're already in a food shortage of tomatoes at a barn door and then blamed it on Dune. And it's all because he didn't get to go with his big brother into a dangerous situation. Like, kid, get over it. Oh my god. I know it's a YA book, but like, we need to get over this shit, okay? That's stuff that irks me a lot. I can get over Lena is also being stupid in this book. She decided to go to the dangerous city with the brother, but she stowed away. So she over here making dumb decisions. Why does she want to go to the city? Just because she like wants to see it. That's dumb. Whatever. I can deal with it though. I can deal with Lena's dumb decision. What I can't deal with anymore is Torin. Torin is pissing me off. People of Sparks, I am going to continue with my rant that Torin is the most annoying kid. I don't know how much younger he is than like Lena and Dune. I don't know if it was ever mentioned, like my brain glossed over that fact, or if they never said it. But he is so annoying. Like, I've met some annoying kids, but like, I don't know. My youngest brother's 8, and he's not nearly this annoying. Like, this kid is like, I don't know. Like, he can't be younger than that, I can't imagine, but he's so annoying. Like, he has to be like at least 10, but like, this kid's annoying. Like, I want to slap him across the face. Like, stop being a little asshole all the time. Stop. His brother's also a piece of work. I'm kind of hoping that Casper is like, I think that's how you say his name. I don't know. It's spelled weird though. Casper? I don't know. He is traveling up north to find something he's never going to find. I hope that's the end of his story. I hope we never hear from him again. He's kind of an asshole too. That's probably where his brother learned it from. But there was a war that was going to happen. But we averted the war. The war that because a war decimated the world because people were fighting. But now we've moved past that. We're not going to fight. We've learned to work together and forgive is what I've gathered so far. But I gave this book 5 stars too. So both books so far have been 5 stars. I will be taking a break though from this series just for one book. I need to read another book that's on my TBR for this month. And then I will pick up Prophet of Yonwood. Alright, so I started Prophet of Yonwood finally. And it's been a long time. So I hit like a reading slump and I stopped reading the series and stuff. Not because of the series or anything. I had a lot going on personally. Oh, sorry, I almost hit you. Shelby came out of her hiding spot to sit with us today. But we're a good chunk of the way through this book. And I put this up because Ramathon Peace Talk sprints are happening this weekend. And I figured this would be a short book so that I could get something right. Because I'm not really into novellas. And I'm not really into graphic novels too much. Very, very select few graphic novels and stuff I'm into. So I started this one. It does not pick up where the last one left off. We meet a whole new cast of characters in this book. And it does what the Giver series, and I had the Giver series years ago. So where like it picks up in a different spot. And I feel like in book 4 stuff will merge together if it doesn't merge together in this like second half of the book. Because we're almost halfway through the book, I think. Yeah, about halfway. So that's where we are here. I am enjoying it so far. It's just a new cast, and I'm not quite sure how it all ties in yet. But I'm sure we'll find out. I'm joined by a friend again. Hi, ma'am. Miss Shelby. You just following me. Because it's your wake time, and look, I'm still awake. Usually we keep opposite schedules. But I finished Prophet of Yonwood, which it's kind of hard to see with the light reflection off of. I don't know if that's off the computer or if it's off the TV over there. But we finished this one. I'm only going to give it 3 stars, though. I know I like the other ones a bit more in the series, but this is marketed as where is it? 3rd book. This is a prequel. This is not a 3rd book. This is a prequel. Which, it's like, this is the events that lead up to them living in the city of Ember. So we're not really, like, okay, let me find where we were. This is an 11-year-old child talking, which it's middle grade, so like whatever. This tiny little part over here is them talking about them going to live in the city of Ember as an adult. It did the thing I hate more than anything in books. I hate when books skip time. You cannot go 20, 30, 40 years into the damn future as an ending of a book. That's a cop-out. You just didn't know how to end the book. That's a cop-out. End the book right. Like, just don't put it in there then. Like, it's not necessary at this point. Like, we could have contently never had that resolution. Besides, it doesn't really tell you why. I mean, like, obviously the world was destroyed, but, like, it was talking about, like, that entire other part of the book was talking about when she was a kid. It was talking about potentially going to war, but they didn't go to war then. So why did you guys go to war? Why was the world destroyed? Like, this is not a resolution. But we got one down. Next is book 4, and I actually did read the synopsis on the back, which is something I don't usually do. And this is actually going to be the 3rd book, because now we're going to go back to Lena and Dune. And we're going to find out what's happening with them. Prequels, I'm not a big fan of prequels to begin with. But we have completed a book. Hopefully I can finish this one yet and Robothon Peace Talks this weekend. Should be able to because these books are the same size, but we will see how this goes. Diamond of Darkhold, and I'm about 60 pages in, which is about 20%. So we got a good chunk. We're back with Lena and Dune, and they have decided to go back to the city of Ember. Now, how well this is going to work out, I don't know, because it seemed pretty impossible to get back down there considering the river was this way unless you have a bow motor to go down. Besides the fact that we know Ember's out of electricity at this point. So anyone who didn't come either had to go out into the unknown area or they're dead in the city and decomposing. Let's just put it that way. Like, the book is for middle grade, so they're not going to say that, but, like, that's the reality of the situation here. But we are going to make some more progress. It's only 1:43, so I just had some lunch, and I'm going to keep continuing this. It's estimated that it's going to take me about 2.5 more hours to read this. So I think I can get this done yet before Peace Talks is over, and then we'll go from there, and then, like, we'll have a series done, and I don't know what series I'm going to start next. Maybe one of these other ones that I've been meaning to start and just haven't, but we'll see, I guess. I finished Diamond of Darkhold here. I'm going to give it 5 stars. So I think if I go back, I think I gave all the books, but that second one, 5 stars. 5, yes. All but that 3rd one. I really don't like that 3rd one. There is some connection, though, between the 3rd one and this one. I didn't mention it when I was talking about Prophet of Yonwood. there was a character named Hoyt, and he was contacting aliens. I kind of glossed over it because it seemed like a random point to have in a book. Like, why are we talking about aliens? But um, the last chapter here mentions the alien. Like, they're mentioned a little bit. Like, it's mentioned that there's this green light traveling star in the sky. Apparently, those are aliens. And why that was included in the book, I don't know. That's like one of those plot points. I'm like, I don't know what this is for. It's kind of funny retroactively. Why is this gonna turn into a sci-fi book if it's continued? Like, why is there aliens being involved? And it did do that thing that I hate in books where I know I complained in the last one, like it skips years and years in the future. But it was done better in this book. Like, incrementally the years it went better. And it wasn't really like describing what happened with people's lives. It more just so described the diamond aspect of the book. Because you find out what this diamond is, because it's not actually a diamond. I don't know why they decided it was a diamond. You know it's not a diamond because at one point Dune throws the diamond, the first diamond, and it shatters. Like, the diamond's not gonna shatter if you throw it. I'm expecting it's actually just glass, blue colored glass. But 5 stars. This was a good series. I did enjoy myself. And I'm not quite sure what I'm gonna read next. But it's gonna be fantasy because mostly read fantasy, let's admit it. So on to the next series.